ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Can I start, ma?
Yes.
Om Amma Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Adi Shankaracharya has composed many texts and Viveka Chudamani is one of the most important ones. Chuda means head. Mani means jewel. Chudamani is an important ornament for a woman of those days. Viveka too is most important characteristic for a mumukshu or for a person going to the path of mokshatvam. A person attains moksha in 2 steps. First, by karma yoga, he will have to do all the actions with a viveka, discrimination intellect, to reach jnana yoga. So, in karma yoga, he has to use viveka in all his actions. In the jnana yoga too, viveka is very important to discriminate the higher I and the lower I. As viveka is so important, this grantha is named as Viveka Chudamani. It has 580 verses. Shankara has explained Atma Anatma Viveka through Panchakosha Prakriya, 3 bodies, Sadhana Chadushtayam, and how it helps in attaining Atmajnanam. He has composed the Prakarana in 2 different meters, Anushtup and Tushtup meters. The main essence of Adi Shankara text is Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jiva Brahma Iva Na Paraha. The first verse is a Mangalacharanam or salutation. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranadosmyaham. Salutations to the Sadguru Govinda, who is the nature of supreme consciousness, who can be only known through the essence of Vedanta, who is beyond the reach of sense organs. In this sloka, Shankara is saluting his teacher, Sadguru Govindam. Govinda here refers to his Guru Govinda Bhagavad Pada. Govinda also refers to the supreme consciousness. So, by saying Govindam, he is referring to his Guru Govinda Pada and also the supreme consciousness. Here, Shankara is subtly pointing out that the supreme consciousness is in his Guru is Govinda, which is also in all beings. That the essential nature of all beings, including himself and his Guru, is supreme consciousness. I offer namaskarams to my Guru, who is physically Govinda Bhagavad Pada, but in reality, he is that Atma Tattvam. He is Sarva Vedanta Gocharam. None other than that Brahman or Atma Tattvam, which is revealed only through teachings of Shastras, which is a Shruti Pramana and not through any other means. Om Tat Sat. Dhanyavadamma.
Om Amma. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. The threefold blessings of a human birth, rarest of the rare, are Manushyatvam, status of a thinking human being, Mumukshutvam, one who longs for freedom, Mahapurusha Samshayaha, connection with a Sadguru, surrender to a Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru. It is said, Jantu Nam Nara Janma Durlabam. It is rare to get a human birth. Only a Nara Janma can be a Moksha Dwaram. Only human intellect has the faculty of making choices, of Viveka. Durlabam Trayame Vaitad Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Samshayaha. This is a famous, oft-quoted verse. There are three blessings which are rare indeed and are due to the grace of God. Deva Nugraha Hetukam, namely a human birth. Manushyatvam, the longing for liberation. Mumukshutvam, and the protecting care of a perfected sage. Mahapurusha Samshayaha. These are the three M's. Guru holds up the Darpanam, mirror of Atma Darshanam, lights up the path. The Shastra at the outset praises the extraordinary status enjoyed by a human being among various living creatures on this planet. The Jiva need not be reborn as a human being, where it enjoys the status of Manushyatvam. It might as well be born as a celestial, Deva, or an animal, Pashu. In these embodiments, the Jiva, as an enjoyer, exhausts prarabdha karma, but cannot attempt to gain moksha. This is so because free will is denied in these bodies. Moksha is possible only in an embodiment like human birth, which is endowed with free will. So, let us not take human birth for granted. Let us not waste it. Mumukshutvam means status of being a mumukshu, one who has a desire for moksha. Mumuksha is moktum icha, but mere mumuksha does not make a person a mumukshu. Mumukshu is one for whom desire for freedom is the only predominant goal in life. Knowing full well the limitations of all other pursuits in life, this person wants moksha alone. That mumukshutvam is because of purva punya. Punyam gathered in this life or in countless previous lives or probably in both. Having gained a Samskrita manas of a thinking human, if that man of deluded intellect, Mudadihi, does not strive for moksha, he is as good as committing spiritual suicide, Atmaha. The commitment to moksha is due to Ishvara Anugraha. Conversion of one's desire for moksha into jignyasa implies a certain cognitive change. A Mahapurusha can easily convert this mumukshutvam into jignyasa, a desire to know, even if one goes to him out of mere curiosity. A Mahapurusha is one whose greatness is as good as Brahman, the limitless. He knows the glory of the self. With this knowledge, I am Brahman. He is a Shrotriya, well versed in scriptures. Under the guidance of such a teacher, when he keeps showing the limitations of all the other pursuits, then slowly one begins to see that one is, after all, seeking only moksha, and that it is in the form of knowledge of oneself, Atmagyanam. Jnanameva moksha. Then the mind becomes fit for inquiry. To have the right type of teacher is durlabham, rare. How does one find out who is a Mahapurusha? Not just a Pandita, a Vedic scholar. It is known by whether that person makes you see that you are free. One who earnestly seeks the knowledge gets the right teacher by Ishvara Anugraham. The threefold accomplishments, Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshrayaha, for a jiva is due to Ishvara's grace. In fact, the law of karma is also Ishvara, and the law takes care of the result. Om Tat Sat.
Om to all. As Jayashree has said, Narajanma is indeed a great blessing, but Nara should know the difference between karma, yoga, and atma vichara to attain that the goal of the ultimate goal of moksha. Shankara appreciates the role of karma, but declares that moksha is possible only through self-knowledge. In verse 6, he says, Atmaikya bodhena vinapi mukti na siddhyati brahma shatanda repi. One may study scriptures, do tapas, and perform countless karmas, but without Atma Aikya Bodha, mukti na siddhyati, even in 100 cycles of Brahma. This uncompromising note is sharpened in verse 11. Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdhaye vastu siddhir vicharena na kinchit karma kotipihi. Action is for purification of the mind, not for gaining the truth. Knowledge of truth is by Atma Anatma Viveka Vichara alone, nor in the least by course of actions. Karma, therefore, is preparatory, not final. Purva Bhaga of Vedas mentioned karma as yajna, dana, tapas, seva, and such nitya naimittika duties as per the roles you play and choices. When these karmas are performed with nishkama bhava, karma brings chitta shuddhi, diluting ragadvesha and enabling sattvic ego. Now mind gets ready for reflection and inner tuning. Doesn't Krishna also say the same thing in Bhagavad Gita 3.3? Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. This is a twofold path. Karma yoga for the active and jnana yoga for the contemplative. That is the limitation of karma. It cannot remove ajnana because ego is still there and you don't have the samyuk darshan. Why? Because atma abhyasa is still not there. The problem is not a lack of effort or time, but the fundamental misunderstanding of the means as the end. The goal of liberation, which is the removal of ignorance, cannot be achieved any number of actions that operate on the plane of duality. That is why Shankara emphasizes Vastu Siddhir Vicharena. Only Atma Vichara leads to the accomplishment of Vastu Tattvam when the Guru holds the Shastra Darpan. The rope snake example makes this very clear. If you mistake a rope for a snake in dim light, no amount of ritual or mantra removes the fear. Only the bright light that reveals the rope ends the error. Likewise, karma, however pure and sattvic, do not address the root cause, ignorance. The light is the self-knowledge symbolically, and that dawns only through Atma Vichara, guided by Guru and Shastras. Another example is the mirror covered with dust. Decorating the frame is like doing karma. Unless you clean the mirror, your reflection is unclear. Karma removes the dust, but the actual recognition of your own face happens only when you look into the mirror. That looking inward in the mirror of Chittam is Atma Vichara. Bhagavan Ramana also echoes the same in Upadesha Saram. Ishwararpitam Nichaye Kritam Chitta Shodakam Mukti Sadakam. So doing karmas as Ishvara Arpana purifies the mind but becomes an indirect aid to liberation. So how to integrate karma and jnanam? Veda Mata says punya karmas are beneficial for antakarana shuddhi and maturity of the mind. They take us up to the jnana dwaram. Then with the dawning of Viveka Vairagya, Jiva becomes a Dhiraha. He approaches a Guru and surrenders completely. Now for this Mumukshu, his Adhigaratvam, the grace of Guru, and Shavanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, Loga Vichara goes away and Atma Vichara creeps in gradually. Now, moksha purushartha is nichyaha for this mumukshu. This is the ladder and the process of Atma Vichara. So let's know that even Koti karmas, however noble, cannot reveal the indwelling infinite self. Karma is the preparatory step, and Atma Vichara is the only final flight to freedom. Om Tat Sat.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Viveka Chudamani is a complete prakarana and a masterpiece of Shankaracharya. The title itself gives the importance of Viveka in this prakarana. Only in human birth, Viveka Buddhi is awakened. Then this Chudamani will adorn the Mumukshu. The glory of Viveka Shakti is to do Purushartha Nischaya. Viveka Chudamani shows us about how to develop our mind. What is Viveka? Nitya, Anitya, Atma, Anatma, Dharma, Adharma, Viveka. Vivekam and Vairagyam are twin brothers. Viveki becomes Dhiraha. With consistent Shravanam, Mananam and Mididhyasanam, the Jiva becomes Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha. Let us see the verse. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Evam Rupo Vinischayah Soyam Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka Samudahatah. Vision of Vedanta is to inquire about Jagat. It looks like real, but not absolutely real, just like a dream. Mithya. Vyaktam changes to Avyaktam. Jagat Karanam Brahma. Everything else is Anitya Vastu. The Viveki will have this firm conclusion. Brahma Satyam Ekaha, Jagat Mithya Anekaha. Drishta Nashta Swabhavaha. Anything born of action is Anitya Vastu. Neti Neti. Whatever is subject to change. Competence in the Guru reverse this vision. Vivekam, Vairagyam, Sadguna Pradana, Vedic vision. Everything step into the mind one by one and make us understand Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. It's not possible to lead to Moksha Marga without Guru Kripa. And Aviveki is deluded and confused. Purushartha Nischaya is not there, destroys himself. Only by Atmadarshanam, with a strong mind and Viveka Buddhi and Vairagyam, it is possible to gain Moksha Prapti. By approaching a Sadguru, Atma Vichara will start. Guru will show the light of Shastra. One will gain vision of oneness. Viveka Buddhi is the charioteer. One who has attained Viveka, all the other Purushartha will follow and gains Adhikaritvam for Atma Vichara, and thereafter the final goal, that is Mumukshutvam, will happen. Then with Guru Kripa, Ishvara Kripa, one can attain Moksham. Om Tat Sat.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Amma. Tat Vairagyam Jihasaya Darshana Shravanadhibihi Dehadhi Brahma Paryante Yalitye Bhoga Vastuni. In these verses, Acharya is explaining the importance of the fourfold discipline, the Adhikaritvam, the prepared, matured mind of the seeker, which is very essential to attain Atmajnana. So in the Adhikaritvam, Viveka is the entry point, and Vairagyam is the practical application of that Viveka. Vairagyam is enhanced by Viveka. Acharya says, Tat Vairagyam Jihasaya. The word Jihasa means preparedness to lose anything, everything, mainly all Anitya Vastu. First of all, we must not accumulate all such bhoga vastu which are anitya. And by chance we accumulate, we must be prepared to lose them at any time before it is snatched away from us. Now, how can we prepare our mind to lose anything? For that, Acharya says, Dehadi Brahma Paryante. So, first of all, we must have the determination to renounce all objects of desire, starting from our Deha up to Brahmaloka. Our Deha itself is due to Karma Phala. So, whatever our body wants, whatever our mind craves for, everything is Anitya. Then Brahmaloka also is Anityam. The Brahmaloka, the highest loka is Anityam. All lokas are Anityam, whatever you wish for. Brahma's life itself is finite. Then whatever we develop through our Artha Kama pursuits are all fleeting desires, Anityam. Whatever punyam we earn through Dharma Purushartha, Anityam. So we have to do this dosha darshanam, the limitations of all these anitya aspects, and by vairagya, developing vairagya, and then turn our mind towards that nitya vastu atma. In Bhagavad Gita, in 2.44, also Krishna says, those whose mind are going after bhoga and aishwaryam, they can never develop that vyavasayatmika buddhi, which will give you the clarity and determination to reach the goal of life. Now, next question is, how to develop this vairagya? Acharya says, darshana shravanadivihi. Whatever we see around in the news, in the social media, in the world, we see suddenly stock markets fall, you use your wealth. Then some scam props up, the minister loses his post. Then some accident takes place, life is lost. So anything and everything, nothing is nityam. We can lose power, we can lose post, we can use our dear and near ones, family also breaking up happens. So all these limitations which we experience in the world, that should refine us, and should develop our vairagya. Also, we listen to Idihasa Purana stories. We see Rama and Krishna are avatars themselves. They also had to face many difficulties. They had to apply Viveka and Vairagyam to face these situations. And what about Nachiketa? He demonstrates Vairagyam. He resisted all the temptation which Yamadharma Raja offered him. Long life, wealth, then all wealth, everything. He refused, kingdom. Everything he was determined to have only Atmajnana. So, by drawing inferences with Viveka, by seeing and by hearing, we have to make our Vairagyam stronger. That is what Acharya wants. Acharya also gives so much importance to Vairagyam, that is evident from Sloka 29 and 30. He says, if we give priority to Vairagyam and Mumukshvatvam, then everything else will fall into place. And if we don't have that Vairagyam, then the Shat Sampati, they all will disappear just like a mirage. That is what he says. Now, another question comes to our mind. Is it possible in the present day world to renounce everything through Vairagyam? For that, our Pujya Swamiji Dayananda Saraswati Ji gives a wonderful solution. He says, to develop Vairagyam, we should see everything in an objective way. There is no need to abandon the world. Just have that emotional maturity. We should develop that Viveka to understand what is really necessary and what we feel as necessary. For example, the body is anityam, but does it mean we can neglect our body? Body is dharma kshetra and karma kshetra. We have to take care of our body, but no need to pamper our body. Like that, family also. You have to do your duty towards your family members without getting entangled in that. Money is needed, but you should know the limitations of money also. Everything, whatever is there in the world, you appreciate that, not more, but not less. Stay in an objective way. And you don't have the feeling of ownership. Avoid that. You be like a trustee. That is what he says. So if we follow the advice of our Pujya Swamiji, easily we can develop that Vairagyam which will lead to emotional independence. Om Tat Sat.
Om Amma. Virajya Vishaya Vrata Dosha Muhurmuhu Swalakshye Niyata Vasta Manasashama Uchyate. Through experiencing and through Shravanam, we develop Vairagyam, Viveka, etc. After Viveka and Vairagyam, sixfold inner discipline. In that, Shamaha is the first discipline. Acharya defined about Shamaha, the focusing capacity of the mind. That is, spiritual accomplishment is the top priority. Virajya Vishaya Vrata, detaching the mind from the root of sense objects. That is, all temporary goals of life. How to develop? By dosha drishtaya. The impermanent as impermanent. Muhur muhuhu again and again. Otherwise, they will forget. Swalakshiye niyatavasya. Focus your mind on your lakshyam. That is your goal. Here, goal is inner security, fulfillment, permanence, which is moksha. Niyatavastha means permanently focused. Therefore, Niyatavastha manasa shamaha uchyate. Focused mind is shamaha. Beautiful analogy of lamp. If you place a lamp in a spot which is free from wind, how it will remain steady the flame. So, Shamaha is the sadhana to make the mind at the source of Atma Samastam. विषयेभ्य परावर्त्य स्थापनं स्वस्वगोलके उभयेषामिन्द्रियाणां सदमः परिकीर्तितः. दमः, sensory discipline. Vishayebhyah paravartya sthapanam swasvagolake. The sense organs are kept in their own original places. What is original place? Corresponding physical part. The sense organs are not the physical part. Physical organs is not called the sense organs. Physical eye is called golakam. When you see an object, the physical eye will remain in the body alone. But the indriyam is supposed to go out. The golakam remains. But the indriyam goes out. Ubhayesham indriyana, both jnanendriyam and karmendriyam. Dhanyavadaha.
Om Amma, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. When one has gained a degree of proficiency in Sama and Dhamma, Uparati, that is self-withdrawal, automatically takes place. Nalamban Vruttere Shoparati Ruttama. In Tattva Bodha, Uparati or Uparama is Swadharma Anushtanam, devoted to Nitya Naimitya karmas, pursued dharma, perform Vihita karma. Titiksha means withdrawal, quietude. Different schools have given different meanings of withdrawals. Withdrawal from Kamya karmas, from Pratishita karmas. Another school says the meaning as another Shastra gives the meaning as sannyasa, the last ashrama of life. A complete withdrawal from all duties and obligations. A sannyasi is exempted from duties towards family and society. Another meaning brings in the concept of Uttama Uparati. When one is free from psychological dependence on anything external, is Uttama Uparati. It is a mental withdrawal and not running away from the situations. Key aspects of Uparati in Viveka Chudamani. Mind seizes external function. The defining characteristic of Uparati is mind's functions ceases to external stimuli and gives inner satisfaction, which is gained through constant discrimination and faith in itself. Faith in self. Freedom from attraction. Here, the mind is not attracted or agitated, either with pleasant or unpleasant situation. He stays neutral, precursor to higher status. Uparati is a stage that naturally follows and deepens the understanding and practice of the virtues like Dhamma, making way for further spiritual progress and cultivation of Sama and other component of Shat Sampat. Manifestation of equanimity. The mind in this state remains unaffected by external events and which gives space to nididhyasanam. Sahanam sarvadhukkanam pratikara chinta vilapa rahitam satitiksha nidaghyate. Titiksha is the capacity to endure all sorrows and sufferings without struggling for redress or revenge, being always free from anxiety or lament over them. Titiksha is a stay power, endurance, patience. A mumukshu's wise approach to difficulties is sahanam, to bear all the situations of pain. They are prarabdha karma unfolding. Important keywords from the verse. Aprithara purvakam, which means without retaliation, without dvesha, and not to blame for the situation that has come up. Acharya says, for mumukshu, one may endure with patience and have objectivity. Chinta vikalpa parahitam is without worry or lamentation. Do not complain about the situation that is being experienced or experiencing. This gives rise to prasada buddhi, which is an important aspect for a mumukshu. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those who have titiksha quality, they alone are fit for amrutam moksha prapti. That mind that practices titiksha is considered fit for spiritual inquiry, such as investigation of Brahman. Titiksha encourages to rise one's perspective to create a distance between challenge and one's immediate reaction, allowing for a more measured response. Titiksha is the fourth of Shat Sampat required for spiritual growth. By practicing titiksha, one can gain control over their bodily and mental reaction. It helps in liberating oneself from overwhelming influence of physical, emotional, and intellectual demands, which are often the cause of suffering and identification with external conditions. Om Tat Sat.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Today, I'm going to be sharing about two important qualifications for a mumukshu, Shraddha and Samadhanam. In verse 25 of Viveka Chudamani, it is said, Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadharanam Sa Shraddha Katita Sadbihi Yaya Vastupa Labhyate. Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadharanam. Avadharanam means understanding. An understanding of Satya Buddhi. What is Satya Buddhi? Satya Buddhi is the Pramana Buddhi, the Shastra Pramanya Buddhi, because whatever we gain, the Pramanam for knowing Brahman is our Shastras. The only Pramanam for knowing Brahman is our Shastras. So, since that is alone the only way to know what is to be done and what is not to be done, with that buddhi, when one listens to the teachings of our guru where it is based on the pramana buddhi, one gains the vastu jnanam, the knowledge of Brahman. So what is told is sa shraddha katita. There is also an explanation of what shraddha is. So when a mumukshu has such a satya buddhi in the shastra, then that understanding is called shraddha. And who says that? Kathita sadbhi, as mentioned by the wise people. And yaya vastu upalabhyate. Vastu, Brahma vastu. So when does one gain the knowledge of Brahman? Even in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So that kind of an understanding, Shraddhavan, when one has such an understanding alone, he gains freedom from, freedom from this cycle, and he gains the moksham. And for example, when we come to these sessions where our guru is teaching, if we just listen and if we don't understand something, when we give it up, then there is no point, there is no shraddha. But a mumukshu would keep, reflecting on it, would try to understand, would not give up. And if there is a gap in understanding, going back, clarifying all the doubts, and going in that direction will only help us to gain mumukshutvam. So that is about the first verse. And even in Tattva Bodha, the definition for Shraddha is given, which is in a very similar way. Shastreshu Guruvakyeshu Vishwasaha iti Shraddha. And moving on to the next important qualification is Samadhanam. Sarvada sthapanam buddhehe shuddhe brahmani sarvada tat samadhanam iti uktam na tu chittasya lalanam. Here, adhanam means samyak adhanam. Adhanam means to place something very well. So samyak adhanam is to place it extremely well. And what we come to know here is sarvada, always, at all times, even when we are doing our regular duties, even in our various ashramas, when we are in pursuit of our other goals, never forget the Brahma Tattvam, never lose the one pointedness. So sarvada sthapanam, placing the intellect, chitta shuddhi, buddhehe, shuddhe brahmani sarvada, tat samadhanam, at all times, abiding of the chitta buddhi on the source, the atma, the brahmavastu, is, that state is samadhanam. So for example, Swamini ji gave a very good analogy, where a musician might be singing various ragas and tunes, but is always tuned in to the background tambura shruti. So in that same way, it is so important to have our one pointedness in the Brahma Tattvam, and not letting na tu chittasya lalanam, and not letting our mind wander here and there and get distracted like an indisciplined child. This is samadhanam. Om Tat Sat.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Can you give me permission, Amma?
You have permission. No? Try now.
Yes. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mumukshutvam. So, what is mumukshutvam? An intense desire for moksha. Now, what is moksha? So, the literal translation is freedom or liberation. So, we all know that mumukshutvam, moksha means freedom or liberation. Now, mumukshutvam, the actual or the true meaning is the desire to give up. It is a tyaga. Initially, before coming to Vedanta, we all have the illusion that moksha means attaining some loka, or attaining some extraordinary siddhi or some accomplishment experiences. No, that is not moksha. So moksha is, it is freedom, that is giving up, desire to give up. That is the mumukshutvam. Now, what should we give up? That is, we should give up the sense of limitation which we have, the sense of inadequacy, the sense of insecurity, the sense of missing things. I'm missing this, I'm missing that. So what is the limitation? So limitation means it is sense of localization. Now, what do we, why do we get this sense of localization? So as we all know, the avasthatraya, the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti. So in Jagrat and Swapna states, we all know that I am here. Then in the Swapna state also, we are well aware. But in the Sushupti state, in the deep sleep state, there is no sense of localization. Now, what is the cause of this sense of localization? That is we have Pancha Koshas. So leaving out the Anandamaya Kosha, the remaining 4 koshas, the Annamaya Kosha, the Pranamaya Kosha, the Manomaya and Vijnanamaya. So these are the cause of our sense of, feeling of limitedness. Now, how do I overcome this? I should do Tyaga of the Panchakosha. So now how free from the sense of limitation means what? Free from the sorrow, fear of death, or fear of, sense of insecurity. Now, how do I do this? That is via the Ahankara Deha Bandhana. Now, how do I give it up? That I can give it up because the entire this duality is born out of the ignorance. So removal of ignorance. That is the removal of Ajnanam. Now, how do we get this knowledge, jnanam? Now, for a mumukshu, the ultimate goal is moksha. Now, to attain that moksha, what is the immediate goal? That is to get the jnanam. Now, all the speakers have clearly spoken about how to get this knowledge, how the human birth is rare, and what are the 3 blessings which we have. So, in order to get this jnanam, Vedanta, Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam is, these are the steps or the pathway. Now, of all the, Adhikaritvam, if Shankaracharya, or if we have to choose one, that then Mumukshutvam is the most important one. Why Mumukshutvam is the most important one? Because if you have the intense desire for moksha, if you have the intense mukshutvam, then everything else will fall in place. If you have mumukshutvam, then vairagyam will be coming. If you have the mumukshutvam, then viveka, samadhi, shatka, sampati, everything will fall in place. Why? Because you have guru krupa. Mumukshutvam is not means actually it makes you a spiritual speaker. Else what happens is it will become an academic pursuit. We are not reading Vedanta for an academic pursuit. This is not any research paper guided by a mentor. We have a guru, we have a parampara. So because of guru krupa, if you have intense mumukshutvam, everything will fall in place. Now, what is the result of this Vedantic study? That is moksha. So now we can rephrase this as without. Now, of all the 4, mumukshutvam is the most important one. And again, if we have to choose any 2, then without vairagyam and mumukshutvam, moksha is not possible. Om Tat Sat.
Om Amma, Namaskaram, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My topic is how Guru Bhakti helps to develop Adhikaritvam. Viveka Chudamani begins with the glory of Manushya Janma. Jandunam Narajanma Durlabam. The pursuit of Dharma and Mokshapalam is possible only in Narajanma. When one understands that dharmic karmas will lead only to Chitta Shuddhi and not Mokshapalam, one has to switch over to Shreyo Marga from Preyo Marga. Rituals mentioned in Karma Kanta are not going to help in Jnana Marga. Hence, approaching a guru who is Shantam, Mahantam, Deshikam, Dhayasintum, Sampradayavit, Shrotriya, Brahmavit, these are all the great qualifications of a guru. Seeking Guru Kripa becomes essential. Guru is an ocean of compassion. Acharya says, Dhayasintum Gurum. And the mumukshu has to become Jignasu. Sishya has to develop Guru Bhakti and Guru Seva attitude, and Guru who comes from the Guru Parampara helps the Sishya to do self-inquiry and develops Adhikaritvam. The basic qualities needed for a mumukshu are Medhavi, Purushaha, Vidwan, and analyzing capacity. These qualifications will make him fit for Atmayanam. But more important than these qualifications is developing the 4 disciplines: Viveka, Vairagyam, Shat Sampati, and Mumukshatvam. This is possible only under the guidelines of a guru. Guru can help the Sishya to develop Viveka, to discriminate Nitya Anitya Vastu, to understand Brahma Satyam Jagan Nitya. Guru can guide the Sishya in Jnana Marga through Drishya Viveka, through Neti Neti, to understand what is Satyam and how to arrive at it. Guru can show the way how to develop Vairagyam by turning the mind away from objects of desire. Guru can also inspire the Sishya to develop Shat Sampatihi like Shamaha, Damaha, Uparitihi, Titiksha, etc. Most importantly, Guru helps in cultivating Shraddha, that is Satya Buddhihi or Pramana Buddhihi. Sishya should have trust in what Guru teaches. Only Shastra Pramana helps in understanding our true self through what Guru teaches. Guru shows as the Shastra Pramana. So we have to accept the words of a Guru. In verse number 25, Acharya says, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhyavadharanam Shashraddha Katita Sadbihi Yaya Vastu Bhalabhyate. When mind is not able to concentrate, when mind wants to go after Bhoga, Anitya pleasures, the time Guru Kripa can help to overcome the obstacles and pull the Sishya towards Shreyo Marga. Guru can bring back the Sishya to Moksha Marga. When Mukshutvam is feeble, it can be upgraded by Guru Kripa. In verse number 28, Acharya states, Manda Madhyama Rupapi Vairagyena Shamadhina Prasadena Guru Seyam Pravriddha Shuyate Phalam. Due to Guru grace, desire for moksha also increases. When there is intense desire for mukshutvam, God will show the path through the Guru only. Guru can only illuminate our Atma and mind by Vairagyam and Viveka. Intense devotion to Guru, considering Guru as Bhagavan, will help the Sishya to get clear understanding of Vedanta. Om Tatsat. Dhanyavadaha.
Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. So thank you all for your Mananam presentations on the Viveka Chudamani verses that we have covered. And every talk was a very complete talk. I could see that you all were highlighting that your topic very well and also doing cross-referencing with similar shlokas from other texts like Bhagavad Gita and Upadesha Saram and all. Wonderful. So you really brought out the glory of all these topics mentioned in the Viveka Chudamani, which we all know is truly a masterpiece. Yeah. And have you noticed how Acharya highlights every value? Is Shraddha, most important qualification. Mumukshutvam, very important. Guru Bhakti is ultimate, Viveka is the entry point. So initially, for a beginner, we are asked to move sequentially, Viveka to Vairagyam, then Shatka Sampatihi, then Mumukshutvam, and so on. No? But all these values are important. In the Bhagavad Gita, we don't have sadhana chatushtayam in this manner, fourfold qualifications. We have it differently. Amanitvam, adambitvam, then Daivi Sampatti in chapter 16. And here and there, values and attitudes are there. So that is wherever we are. We have a checklist and we can cross-examine or self-examine and see what is it that we're lacking. Supposing we have Viveka and Vairagyam, but Shraddha is not up to the mark. Then again, there will not be consistency in attending classes and then there will be gaps in understanding. Yeah? So the idea is, of course, to have mukshutvam, but at the same time, upgrade all the values slowly but surely. Yeah. So it's a wonderful checklist for us to see in life, what is it that I have in adequate measure, but what do I need to improve upon? So some are really highlighted like Shraddha, Vairagyam, and Mukshutvam, of course, Guru Bhakti. We know the story of Totakacharya, how, Guru Bhakti alone transformed his personality and gave him the highest understanding. Yeah. So Viveka Chudamani, is a complete text. So it, starts with the Manushya Prashansa as we saw today. Very nicely Mangalacharanam was covered and precious human birth and fourfold qualifications and wonderfully rounded up by Uma in the end, how Guru Bhakti brings it all together. So Viveka Chudamani, we will see all these again and again will be emphasized and reinforced. Next, we are going to see Bhakti after Adhikaritvam topic. The Bhakti of the Shishya who approaches the Guru and in the right manner, and how the Guru accepts the Shishya and proceeds to remove the sorrow. Even though for the Guru there is no problem, but that is why the Guru is Ahetuka Daya Sindhuhu, and with a lot of compassion proceeds to give the Upadesha. Then we're going to see all the Upadesha on the Panchakosha Viveka, Shariratrayam, 3 bodies, Tattvabodha content is going to come again. Then finally, how Shishya receives the knowledge and he's thrilled and he shares his understanding and says, Aho Shastram, Aho Guru, Aho Jnanam, praises. And then the Guru also goes on his way. The Guru is described as, Vasantavat, like the spring season. Every other season we may have problems, But in the spring season, everything flowers. So the Guru's presence makes everything bloom with joy and clarity and, peace and freedom. So that is towards the end. Yeah. So that was very nice. I'm sure everybody enjoyed all the talks. Yeah. And we'll conclude now with the closing prayers. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.